What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of 0xResearch. Today I'm joined by my co-host and one of my favorite people in 0xResearch, Danny. Danny, how are you doing?
Good. How are you doing today, Bach?
Good. It was a big day for the burgers. Did you enjoy the Super Bowl?
I did not watch the Super Bowl. I'm not a football guy.
No?
No.
Okay. Well, that is then our Super Bowl section for this episode.
Yeah, that was a great discussion.
Yeah. If you didn't attend or watch the Super Bowl, there is one other event coming up that you should be watching, and that is, or attending, and that is the Digital Asset Summit in New York. Danny, I'm assuming you'll be going. You'll be traveling to New York.
I will be at the Digital Asset Summit in New York this year, March 24th through the 26th. I think those are the correct dates. Could be wrong, though.
I think those are the correct dates. And if you haven't bought your tickets, I'm sure there was already an ad at the beginning, and you heard my lovely voice say, buy DAS using code 0x200. If it's not 200 yet, wait 2 weeks and it might be, or it might not be. So you're taking a massive gamble. We don't know how the discounts are gonna go. Yep, my producer confirmed. 0x200. Use code 0x200 to get $200 off of your DAS tickets. Javits North Center, New York City, DAS New York, March 24th to 26th. That is going to be a good one. Very institutional. Increasingly more institutional. I don't think we're even doing permissionless this year, Danny.
I don't think so. I do think the lineup for DAS New York is pretty crazy relative to the industry, right? Like, I know people we're going to have folks from the SEC, the CFTC, but also Tether, Binance, Coinbase, like
BlackRock.
We
have a Fed governor coming, Mr.
Federal Reserve.
Stephen Miran. I'm hoping I'm saying that right as a foreigner.
Moran.
Moran.
You could ask Brooks about that one.
Binance. Lots of people coming in. It's going to be a big one. We have also, if you're in Foundations, Thomas Stanzak joining, which I feel like I haven't really seen anybody from EF at DAS before. So that should be a good one. Should be an interesting one. I feel like they don't really do a lot of conferences at the EF. So maybe a signal shift from the Ethereum guys to show up to a big conference. So buy your tickets using 0x200. And every time you do that, I get $1. So if you buy a lot of them, I might actually have money following the market crash. You know who doesn't have money following the market crash, Danny?
Who doesn't have money, actually? Probably a lot of people, but
I guess like the first one to talk about is Michael Saylor, who ended up, Bitcoin is sitting at 69K something. It was at 60K. I feel like a lot of people bought at 65K and were like, okay, this is the bottom now, and went down to 60K. Do you know where Michael Saylor bought?
Higher than whatever the current price is.
He bought at 78.6K, which to me seems ridiculous. I feel like he always gets these kinds of fills, though, right?
Yeah, I don't really understand the strategy of strategy. It's very consistently we see the announcement from them of their average purchase price from a prior time period, and then you go and you look at the Bitcoin chart, and he's like top ticked 1 hour of the trading window of the past week, and it just makes you wonder, like, why and how do you keep making that decision over and over again? Surely they've missed out on a significant amount of potential coins, just from the fact that they seem to ape it all into like a 5-minute window every time.
Yeah, maybe just to like show this chart as well. This is pretty ridiculous. He bought at 76K, and I think this price is right. I'm pretty sure we're just like going like this, but it's pretty ridiculous like how he managed to. I guess like he has an announcement delay, right? But even with that, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's almost like he's trading at those like airport currency exchange desks where the spread is like 40%. He's just like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just buy as much as possible. He definitely needs to fix whoever's executing his orders.
Yeah, I mean, the other consideration could be like, I don't know, is there enough value like chain leak such that he's like the market is always bidding up into his orders by the time they hit the market? I don't know, but yeah, either way, they could certainly improve on execution. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone who's ever seen his average price per coin announcements post a purchase from strategy.
Yeah, and like for reference, that is like 12% higher than what the Bitcoin price is at right now. Like what he bought it at, which I think typically he gets like 3-4%. And I kind of give that the benefit of the doubt. It's a lot of size to get in, whatever. He's going through regulated entities, however he's doing it. I don't know. I'm sure he has like strict regulations on how we can execute buys and stuff, but 12% seems a bit much.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing too is if you're consistently moving that much, like my expectation would be you'd be widening out kind of like your buy windows to just even, move that kind of size into the market without impacting, the price at the venues that you're trading at. But yeah, I don't know. The man and the company is a bit of an enigma on why the execution is this poor continuously. Perhaps it will always be like that. This is a conversation I've had with James Kristoff before. It almost feels like kind of like on purpose, in the sense that it's like, well, it doesn't actually matter if my execution is so bad, because as long as I buy and hold Bitcoin forever, it will be higher than my average purchase price. I think probably a bit silly no matter what, but it's SAYLOR for you.
Yeah, I don't know if he cares a lot. The thing is that when the market's going up, people are like, oh, like, who cares? He bought X amount of yards in Bitcoin, and then when the market's going down, everyone likes to laugh at him.
Then everyone wants to figure out what the I guess that's the other thing from the other week was they mentioned on an investor call that like around 8,000 per Bitcoin is when they mentioned it would become noticeably difficult to service their debt payments. But that would be at some point in time in the future as well, like whenever those first conversions.
$8,000 per Bitcoin.
$8,000 per BTC was like sort of the number quoted.
Okay, well, we should be fine. Hopefully, we don't know. Did you
We
see
hope.
that FT article?
$69,000 too expensive.
Yeah, and then they have to change it to 70K. I think last cycle everybody wanted to liquidate him as well. They were like, "Oh, we can't go up until we liquidate Michael Saylor," and he was just bidding insane amounts at that point. But he does up. It's just kind of crazy to me because I feel like if I have exposure to like a token, let's say Hype, for example, like Hype went up on a big rally over the past month and a half while the entire market went down. But I had exposure. So if it's like rallying a lot, I'm like, okay, well, I don't have to FOMO into this. I can, relax a bit, see where the market is going, etc. But to him, that's not really the thing. Like he'll almost like buy not a lot at like low prices. Like, and then like Q4 25 or 24, he bought a ridiculous amount. I don't know if you remember, like he bought billions, like more than 30-40% of his all-time purchases he bought. He like almost FOMOs in as higher the price goes, so because he's like, oh, the train is leaving without me. Meanwhile, he has like a lot, way too much probably Bitcoin exposure.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's probably very different from like the way that the business operates in terms of like when MSTR has traded at a premium comes at the periods when Bitcoin is obviously going up a lot. And so basically, those ATMs and ability to raise cash to put into the asset come at the periods when it's more expensive than when it's not. So yeah, like discretionarily deciding to spend all of it right then at that moment probably doesn't make as much sense. But it's also like, it's like that meme about the guy buying millions of egg futures, and then when he says, okay, like I want to sell all my egg futures, it's like, what do you mean? You're the guy that buys all the egg futures. So a little bit of like he's kind of also playing into the reason that it runs up so heavily during those periods. But yeah, I would agree that there's kind of like an inverse. Like it would make more sense, of course, to be buying even more heavily when price is going down than when it is like been going up for 2 years straight.
Yeah. But like you said, if he wasn't buying a lot, like sometimes Taylor is the only person in the market.
Yeah.
And oftentimes that's when things start getting a little scarier.
Yeah. And probably the other thing is like the more thought out way of like adding leverage, I guess, if we want to call the way they operate leverage, would not be, at when you're setting, you can make something in terms of to say like about wanting to play the momentum, but certainly like double topping at 125K and then like maybe trying to put on a bunch of leverage like at an all-time high maybe doesn't make as much sense as like trying to put on some leverage at like potentially a low and then ride it up from there. But I don't know. I think a lot of the like maybe typical logic that someone would have in like their personal kind of investing portfolio does not really like fly the same way with strategy and the way that they operate the business.
Yeah, I wonder how much money Saylor would save if he would just like write out objectively like what he's doing. And I was like, you know what? Like maybe
like write it down on paper and like read it back to
he
himself.
just like wrote it down to like reflect on it for a second. I need to talk to somebody about their newest offering is like, well, not new anymore because it's been months, but I think the more, I don't want to say desperate. I don't think he's getting desperate, but I think the more kind of in a difficult situation he's put in, it's like the more it might become flawed. Is the one where he's talking about it as if it's a stable coin. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't know if it's Stretch or one of the other products that
I don't know if it's STRC or if it's STRD. But anyway, I need to get yeah, it's STRC. I need to get either Noah or James on to talk about that a little bit because that's something that really interests me, and I feel like it's now is the time for that to like not do very well at some point, right? Yeah. And let's not forget Citrini's thesis of long BTC short MSTR. So a lot of stuff that could go wrong from. Okay, less sadness about my Mr. Michael Saylor and more happiness about normies hate crypto still. Did you see the reactions?
Yeah, the Super Bowl Coinbase ad was, at least there's one clip that's going around that I saw, but kind of this classic example of people were excited about just like, a nostalgic song, and then at the end it's got no basically reference to crypto, and then at the end of the ad it's just Coinbase, and the, I don't know, millennial Zoomer crowd still has negative connotations to crypto, Coinbase, all related.
I don't think it's Zoomers. I think it's millennials that don't like it. But anyway, yeah, they still don't like crypto. I don't think they will ever like crypto. Is that a hot take anymore or no? I think we missed the boat on making them liking it.
I think that there's a weird it's like a weird conversation because like do regular people like finance? Do they like fintech companies? Like I don't know that they really like these things. It's more of just like, do they use them or do they not use them?
Yeah, but no one's like, oh, I fucking hate the Fed wire or like I fucking hate Venmo. Like they don't boo when, I mean, some people boo when like Powell goes on stage, I guess, notably. But no one's like booing ads for like Venmo and stuff. I don't know if Venmo does that, by the way, but like I don't know if I met anybody who would be like, oh, I fucking hate Revolut. Just seems
Yeah, I think there's a difference there too, though, like of because Robinhood has had this in the past where they had the whole GME craze and like they couldn't keep the market on that open due to the kind of issues with back end liquidity and whatnot requirements. And they've had a lot of like there's certainly a lot of people who would probably say like, oh, Robinhood, like they're like a scam business, like they're going to take your money away and they'll turn off the buy and sell button and you won't know it. And so I think there's probably a difference between just like a payment platform. Like if I use Venmo, I get to send money to people and they get to send money back to me. There's not like any real like inherent chance of losing money on an investment. I think some of these platforms like a Coinbase or a Robinhood are more open to that potential of like, you know, they definitely went on big marketing campaigns in like 2021 and then the markets went down a lot into 22. And so you probably just have people who have negative sentiment there around, you know, they think crypto's a scam. They think these exchanges like promoted it and like tried to prey on retail or something like that.
Yeah, I get what you mean about Robinhood. I feel like that illusion, that impression is also kind of gone now at this point. Like, I feel like nobody's super. Although I was never like huge into WSB and stuff, so I don't know. But I feel like no one's super still like angry with Robinhood and Blood and stuff. I know like at some point they hated them, and there was the movie that came out, which I can imagine only like reminded people of it. But I feel like vast portions of society don't hate Robinhood, or I think a lot of regular human beings hate artificial intelligence. Um, but I think part of that is because they're just afraid of, like, I also am quite concerned about like ramifications of AI, because it's like it would be ignorant to say you're not. So I get like when they hate that, but even then I feel like, I don't know, like some number like 30-40% of people are like distant towards AI, versus with crypto it's like 90% are like actively against it, and then maybe 5% are like don't care, and then the remaining 5% are just like you and me.
Yeah. I think part of that probably in all of these examples is sort of a result of like often the positive examples of these things are maybe harder to feel or notice. Like if you use Google search now, like the results and like the auto populated results are like enhanced by AI, but like you probably like don't really like associate that with, oh, this is an AI thing as like a normie. But when you see like shitty AI generated art or like a shitty AI generated ad, you go, oh wow, AI is terrible. Like that they like got rid of a real artist to make this ad and paid AI to do it instead. And like, you know, they get a negative connotation to it from that. And I think what you have with some of these financial products is the same thing. Like in the crypto conversation, it's like, you know, there's maybe a few things that, you know, Bitcoin is up over the long term, but then it's like probably most people have heard of insert meme coin or insert this token that crashed and went to zero, or FTX. Like they think of the very strong, like bad, negative examples, and that sticks in their mind more so than maybe like the relative growth of the industry over time.
Yeah, I agree with that. And like another thing here is, I guess when you lose money on something, I think probably most like technologically capable millennials have lost money on crypto to some extent. And maybe some of them come back and then they make money in the long term, but I feel like they've dabbled in it, got rugged, lost money on Bitcoin because they bought the top in either 2017, 2021, or 2025, 2026. Versus AI, you don't really get to get exposure to it. So there's no like financial repercussions for you, except in the long term, like job safety and whatnot. But in the short term, there's no like active, oh, I had like X amount of dollars, I lost 80% of it because Bitcoin fucking crashed. I was gonna somehow tie this into Citrini's The Broken Promise thing. I don't know if you read it. It's like about how a
Yeah.
lot of private companies don't go public anymore. Not a great tie, but maybe that is a good thing for some of these. Like, I'm sure the AI companies would actually go up. And it is a shame that if you want to get exposure to Anthropic, it has to be through like a fifth layer SPV, and it's at 350 bill. Yeah, you get the point.
I think that's a great piece, by the way. I really liked it.
Yeah.
I agree with him quite strongly. Very much a public markets supporter myself, so would love to see a shift back towards more businesses going public. I think as well, like within crypto, what we need more of as well is like this, fixing of of structures. Basically, like we need to stop having these like dual entity, um, you know, associations around protocols, and like this disconnect between token and equity, and we just need to have, whether it's one private entity or one public entity that's like tied to a thing, and just like more clarity around that. We had some lively discussion with Noah in the chat around TTF, and like the, it's hard to understand the connection sometimes between like, a token and the foundation, and then like also the labs team. Hopefully we can see some more progress there. I don't know, Metadao stuff from Metadao, like it's a good example, like getting everything aligned on one token. There's some teams that are like really leaning in the right direction, right? Like, aligning all of the structures like under one business, or like under one kind of structure within the token or something along those lines. But that's probably also where I think just a lot of the, I don't know, we've had these discussions for the past couple of years of like, well, everything's a meme coin. Okay, no, not everything's a meme coin. Like some things are whatever. But I do think that a lot of the external perception of the industry basically comes down to like, basically it's all kind of gambling for the most part, and like most of it's all meme coins. And I think people probably like largely don't take much of it seriously for that reason.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I will say on that Noah thing is, like, I very much agree with him. I don't really agree that MetaDAO. I like MetaDAO a lot, and I think what they're doing is very cool. But I just kind of disagree with the fact that they're going to make it work, purely because that would mean that like one company essentially owns the entire backend for it. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, and
I'm also
I'll
sorry.
agree with you. Like I'm not like entirely convinced that like MetaDAO will be the final answer or anything along those lines. Like I think if you ask me my real view, I would just expect that
Regulation.
it's a regulation problem, and we'll just tokenize equity, and everything will just be tokenized equity, and this concept of tokens just goes away. Like there's just
Yeah.
no point to have this different thing that's different from equity.
Yeah, especially if all equities become tradable on chain, which seems to be the like where everything else is going. They'll just require the same disclosures from token teams. That's
Yeah,
when,
but I'll give credit like where I think it's due, because I say this a lot too around, you don't want to be an end stater when it comes to things, and like there's, when it comes to regulations, like there's probably, I don't know, I mean maybe they'll drop a bill this year, next year, like clear regulation around tokenized equities, and like it could happen very quickly, or it could happen over 5 to 10 years. Who knows? That's just kind of how regulation goes, and that's how Washington goes in the US. So it could be short, it could be long. I think with that in mind, like there is often room to make a lot of money sort of like in the meantime on the way to the end state of things. And I think this is like a discussion that always comes up in terms of like trading front ends and exchanges of like, oh, their fees are going to get compressed. Nobody's going to make any money doing this. So therefore you should make XYZ product now instead. It's like, no, there's actually a lot of money to be made right now. And so
yeah,
therefore people will compete over that. And so I think like you can't just dismiss, a MetaDAO or any other team that's like building in something that makes sense right at this moment. Like
yeah,
everyone understands that it will change, but there's still money to be made, and
yeah,
progress to be made.
yeah. The idea of like waiting for the end structure is the same to me as thinking that like all markets are efficient always, and it's just like, I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think it's mostly a regulation thing, and it just, until then, I think you have a few avenues to explore. One is like MetaDAO, etc. One is just straight up just buying equities only, but maybe on chain, and then investing in some of those platforms if you're if you have to get exposure to crypto somehow, I feel like that's a way to do it. It is tough though, because also if you are a team that discloses everything, like Daniel, let's say you and I started a protocol and we have a labs go and we disclose our OPEX and our CAPEX and everything of the labs go, of like the labs team. If everybody else doesn't do it, because I feel like crypto people don't read in between the lines and they don't take that extra step to think, oh, they're gonna be like, oh, these guys just are like spending way too much money or something, or like it's just gonna be convoluted. Versus the much easier way is to just ignore all of it and show like a top line revenues and fees thing and just go with that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I would hope, and like I think we would kind of have to like hope and have higher expectations of like the investors in the space to say like, I mean, if you have a team that's great stewards like that and is going to take that step forward that other teams are not taking, like you'd probably be more willing, you know, A, you like their vision, you like whatever product they're building in, but also B, if they're willing to do that and like be more transparent in terms of the financials of, you know, the labs co plus the foundation and whatever the structure looks like. You know, directionally, I would like be more willing to like invest money in them than a team that is not willing to be more transparent with me. So I guess I would hope or expect that like if anyone starts trending in that direction, that the industry will sort of be forced to do so as a whole.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Because I think you know, if you're incentivizing basically like if bad actors kind of get a free pass to like not disclose things that would make their financials look very bad, then you just have to, if you're an investor, you have to view anyone who is like that with some additional skepticism. So any team that's willing to be more upfront with those details, you can get rid of some of the skepticism, and now you just have the hard data around what their financials look like.
Yeah,
because right now I think you just have to assume that they're all losing a bunch of money somehow, and yet they're just hiding it.
Yeah, that is probably a safe assumption to make at this point as well, especially now.
Especially now.
One thing that is slightly similar to this like new approach thing is, first of all, MEGAETH is live. The rabbit hole, I would not share any link now because I feel like I might mess it up somehow. But if you go to the MEGAETH page, you can see what they're doing. I went through their like the process. I thought it looks pretty cool to onboard people. You can like gives you a list of questions that you might want answered. Where's the best yield? What perps products are live? What farms are live? What can I do, etc. Like 15 to 20 of them, maybe. I don't know. Any initial thoughts, or else I want to talk about the KPI based vesting thing.
No initial thoughts. It's too early. It's the same 5 apps you'd find on any fresh chain. So
yeah,
let's talk KPIs.
I mean, to be fair, they have some newer ones compared to the other ones. I'm trying to pull up this KPI. Do you want to pull it up so I can keep doing my little monologue?
Let me see if I can find it. I will say I think like some of the newer, like, you know, Euphoria is one that gets talked about. The product is still waitlist, so I think like the actual the new interesting stuff may take some time. Yeah, let me find their KPI post.
No, not their post. Their website. Ugh. Chat. I hope somebody's watching this.
Do they have the KPIs on the site? I'm on the rabbit hole.
Yeah, they have it. Where's the KPI thing? If anybody from 0xResearch group chat is listening, can you send it into the? I'll click on any link being sent to the Blockworks, the 0xResearch chat right now. So if you have it, please share.
I'll click any links right now.
Oh, I found it. Ollie sent it an hour ago. There we go. Okay, I am no longer a fraud.
Oh, I found it. Yeah, I see it now.
Bam. It's the movie. Okay. Are we good? Can you see? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Road to TGE. Data is updated daily at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Okay. So they went live today, and their KPIs are that there needs to be 10 live Mega Mafia apps. There needs to be 500 million USDM, and there needs to be 50K in daily fees from at least 3 projects. I don't think this is specifically for these 3 projects. I think it can change. Anyway, 5 are live. So this is Cap. I don't know which one these are. I don't know what all of these are, but I know one is Avon. 5 of them are live. This one is not Kumbaya. I'm pretty sure one of them is Kumbaya, which is a /Launchpad. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. I gotta look them up. Anyway, this one I think is an easy one to hit. I'm a bit worried about these. This 500 mil USDM. Let's say that is also fine. They'll figure out a pre-deposit wall. They'll figure something out. This one, 50K daily fees over 30 days.
They only need to hit one KPI though, right? Like they're gonna hit 10 apps, and then 7 days later the token will TGE.
Is it just one KPI?
Yeah, it says on the left, 1 KPI hits, 7 days TGE.
Oh, I thought it was they had to hit KPI.
From my understanding, from the posts and Bread's posts in the 0xResearch Telegram chat, quick shout out to the 0xResearch TG. Bread is in there among many other folks within the space.
Go in and yell at him.
A great place to be connected, generally speaking. You can always ping Bread and other folks in the space in there. But from what I understand, the intention is to only need to hit one of the 3 KPIs, and then the 7-day timer for the TG will hit. So, but like from current POV, and I think just generally speaking, like I think 10 apps will go live, and then that countdown will start.
Okay, that's very good news, because if it was 3 KPIs, I thought it would be very, very difficult.
I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's the case.
I think Brett in the chat. Brett, please answer. All right, we'll see. But like 50K free apps, I think majority of chains probably don't have that. Like I think ETH Soul Base, I don't even think like Optimism almost definitely doesn't have it. Right?
In daily fees. I was going to pull up the data really quick.
All right. Yeah, River confirmed that it's only 1 KPI that needs to be hit. So
yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So like if we look for today, or like last week or whatever, I mean on network rev, there's like, it would be like Tron, Solana, Hype, ETH, Base. Base barely made 50K. I guess it depends on the day for Base. Sometimes they hit it, sometimes they don't hit it.
Are you doing application revenue per chain?
I'm just looking at network revenue. Is that based on app revenue?
Yeah, it has to be 3 unique apps under them that makes 50K a day.
Oh, interesting.
For 30 days. I'm pretty sure we have this data on Blockworks. That's the thing.
I know we have like app fees by sector, but do we have it by chain? Maybe we do. I'm just looking at apps. I mean, you'd kind of get to the same like questionable result by just looking at the top apps across all the major chains, and it's like there's only like 10 or 20 or so that are going to cross that threshold by themselves. Though of course, if you end up with a couple of apps that are doing 5-10K in fees, then you could like build up towards that. Yeah, I mean that's a tough goal out the gate. Certainly, I would agree. Takes time. Like maybe you would look to like Monad as a comp, for example. Like they've been out for several months now. Kind of like relatively similar, like high throughput EVM chain, focused on higher throughput apps. And I'm not aware of what kind of app revenues they're doing, but
well, I can tell you they have 24 hours. They have one application that has had above 10K in fees, which is called Neverland. It's a lender. I need to put this up. There we go. It is Neverland, which has 18K in fees. Like Uniswap has 9K. SH Monad, Shush Monad is 9K. Is 4.3K. So it's tough, right? And it's like, I guess this was majority of people. This was my worry when they announced this thing. I was worried that they would make them hit all 3 of them. Even 500 mil USDM, I think is relatively difficult, because especially if they don't like turn up the incentives. If they turn up incentives, 500 mil is nothing. But if they don't use incentives to like lure people in, I think that they probably wouldn't be able to hit it for at least a month. I don't know, the like a lot more work on the back end goes into TVL than I think a lot of people realize. So maybe they already have it set up, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do, because they are relatively like on top of everything from what I've seen. The team.
Yeah, I think looking to maybe framed a different way, like looking to monetize as a comp here. If the goal is to hit these goals within a month or so, then they're setting like a relatively high bar for themselves, right? They're looking to have higher TVL, be doing a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, I don't even, it looks like Monet is like maybe just barely at that 50K a day in total app fee revenues. So yeah, like above that watermark. So yeah, they're setting sort of like a competitive goal for themselves is how it seems. I do agree with you on the TVL thing. Like just, from my understanding there, like you have potentially partnerships or some kind of deals worked out there maybe in advance. So the app one feels like the most kind of simple. They've got the Mega Mafia, they've got teams that have been planning to launch apps. So that's from conversation with Bread, it seems like that was sort of like a gimme, and then the other ones are really more, can we achieve this? And we'll see.
Yeah, I think this is also the first launch of, I would say, like the bear market. So it's going to be interesting to see how
Yeah, that's fair.
they do. Yeah, I mean, I wish them the best of luck. It's like years of building, and then unfortunately, you end up launching in the bear.
Yeah.
We'll see what they end up doing. They do have. I'm going to try out Ubitel, which is like an eSIM thing. I've historically used Airalo. I don't know if you know Airalo. I think you Americans that get to like take your SIM card wherever you want and you get free data. It's not like that everywhere else.
Well, usually you have to pay like an add-on for international, but yeah, you can usually keep your SIM.
Yeah, we don't get to do that, so I usually use like Airalo, but apparently it's this thing called Ubitel. It looks pretty cool. I'm gonna check it out. It's already live. I'm gonna check that out. And the other one is Hop Network. I'm like, for a VPN, I only use Movad. I'm gonna check out if Hop is any good. But yeah, that's it. I haven't checked out anything else yet. I know you haven't had time yet as well, so I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but
no, it's fairly early. I looked at some of the apps. I think Euphoria has been the one that's popped out to me since a long time ago that I'll certainly probably go tap around in there. But I think I don't really need to go use like the swap product on MEGAETH. I'll probably wait for more of these like different, because I mean I think that's expected, right? Like some of the more differentiated things, like I'm not surprised that they're not launching day one. They probably got some more back end stuff to figure out before launching their apps. You don't really want like a gamified options thing to like blow up and lose a bunch of money on day one. So probably better to take their time there.
Yeah,
So we'll
I just saw they have their testnet goes live next week.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited. They're apparently giving out a Rolex as a prize, so that would be really nice.
Like a trading competition thing.
Yeah, trading competition thing. It's like Flappy Bird for Rolexes, if that makes sense. Does that
Maybe
make sense?
Taiki will win. He's been really hitting some trades this bear market.
Taiki's too smart to play, man. I can't believe Taiki is so funny. Like, I can't believe he has the worst trade of the year, which is buy Celestia free.
Oh.
Is this the new free airdrop meta? And then he also shorted the fucking top of Ethereum.
I thought you were gonna say fart coin for the first one, like buying a lot of fart coin at like, I feel like he got bullish when it was like more than $1, so very much near the highs. But yeah, then shorting ETH and then shorting ETH again.
Yeah,
he definitely made up. I think he made up for some losses for sure. He made up for some losses and then some.
Yeah, I think Taiki gets a lot of shit, but I will say one thing: like his content is, at least it used to be. I don't know his content that well anymore, but I don't know if you ever saw Taiki's like YouTubes,
Yeah.
like his YouTube, like it's very high. He spends a lot of time doing that stuff, and it's like very high quality. I don't think it's the same market anymore. It used to be a lot about like farming and stuff, and I think a lot of people benefited off that. It's not. It's obviously not the same anymore, but I will like give him props where it's due because he spent a lot of time doing those things.
Yeah, I think I don't know, I followed him since 2021, I want to say. So I do think like obviously the content has changed. There's not like free money for just depositing capital everywhere and anywhere anymore. So that has definitely changed. But obviously there's still been, some of the perps taxes, the airdrops for those have been quite material. So I think some of that like airdrop farming content has kind of like shifted over to the perps side of things, maybe specifically. And so I think as a result, he's probably had to think a bit more about like how to trade, to be short, to be long, to like try to be neutral or something along those lines. So it seems like that's kind of helped. Like he seems pretty smart, I would say, relative to maybe just like being the Hubble farmer persona from a couple years ago. But yeah, I like Taiki. I think he's a good guy.
Yeah, I think so too. His like dildo arc was really funny as well.
Yeah, he did go like full back in that would have been like what 24, late 24, early 25. He was very much like full like brainlet mode, just like I'm long, everything is bullish, like let's go crazy. And then I think he kind of he had to get like a little re-humbled. He had to go back to his humble beginnings in 2025.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess last topic for the day is one that well, I didn't put DWR here, but mainly I want to talk about Dan Romero and Farcaster, the entire team joining. I guess like I'll share screen for a bit. Mainly, I just want to share this. He is joining Tempo, but it's not just him. It is also Varun. I'm not sure, but he used to also work at Farcaster. So from what I understand, um, I think the Farcaster like entire team or Devco got bought out by Tempo, which seems very interesting because I know Dan Romero used to be at Coinbase, and so did Varun. I need to look up what Dan used to do. I have a general idea that he was on the product side, but I know he was like a very early employee. I'm just like kind of curious about this Aqua hire from Paradigm for Tempo.
Yeah, from what I understand, I don't think they hired the entire team, but they certainly like pulled some talent. Definitely great, a great run for Dan Romero. Hats off to him for. I mean, I think pretty good outcome in terms of like, from what I understand. I mean, there was the business got kind of bought. He got bought out from the business, and then I think probably some investor capital was returned in part of that deal. So it seemed like a relatively good outcome compared to some of the like, I don't know, acqui-hires we've seen here recently of like a token just kind of like gets decimated or something and then the team leaves to join another business. This one seems a bit better. I did see Mert put out a tweet that was like, Tempo now has Dankred, Dan Romero, Dan Robinson, Matt, and Georgios. LMAO. This is the Golden State Warriors with Durant. Kind of an interesting point. I do feel like this is kind of like an interesting like congregation of technical talent behind this like Tempo effort. So certainly, Stripe looking to make a pretty strong move here. We'll have to kind of see. I don't know. This is still very like early stages. Tempo doesn't really like mean anything in the context of like we're not really like looking at products yet. We can't really see the
No.
impact today. So it's kind of just like, okay, they're assembling some players. They're assembling a team. Let's see what happens. But certainly a lot of like core technical talent from within the space.
Yeah, I'm one thing I was thinking about is when Friendtech first launched, I wrote a report on Friendtech. This is like a long time ago. And when I was writing that report, I also looked at Lens and I looked at Farcaster. And what Farcaster had on the back end was a knowledge graph. And I'm wondering if the way that knowledge graph is built is going to be used for Tempo in a way. If Tempo is a payments chain, because you know how on Farcaster there's like it's like at Danny or like at DeFiK, right? I wonder if they're gonna do something with that. That's the only thing that like kind of makes sense to me for the acquihire thing. Does that make sense? I know they didn't buy out the whole team, but maybe like for somebody to handle the knowledge graph side of things, I feel like that could make sense. Apart from that, like about the Matt tweet, yeah, I mean it's funny that he called himself 2014 Spurs. I like that. Hype is probably the Cavaliers with Jeff as LeBron. Also, I guess a fair point. Yeah, it does. Tempo scares me a bit because you know the Gore tweet. You built all of these things for Robin to just come and take it. It's literally that, except like Paradigm's super sharp, and they're also super crypto native, and they're working with Stripe. Who like Stripe also is one of those things that like I don't know if Citrina mentions them. I think he might, but it is like one of those private companies that never went public, like the Broken Promise. So I don't know if they would launch a token. Right? Like
I hope they wouldn't. That'd be awful. Objectively, right? Like,
yeah, I mean payments is hard to monetize as well.
It'd be much better for them to go public than to launch a token for their chain.
Yeah. So like it's tough for you to get exposure. You have to fight. I don't know what the Tempo. I don't know what the Stripe private markets look like. I don't know if it's like the AI stuff where it's like 15th SPV and you have like 400 counterparties at that point. That might fuck you over, or if it's simpler. But so that's the only reason, right? Like we all know that like crypto rails are objectively better than non-crypto rails because it's very quick and because it's 24/7 and because it's T+0. But what if you are right for 18 years but you never make any money on it?
Yeah, I mean, I do think this is probably a conversation that we're just going to keep having more and more often, especially as, I mean, we've got DAS coming up next month, and like institutions are leaning in more, and like some of those institutions are older and more legacy, and some of them are a bit more agile and like kind of more on the leading edge of like the fintech side of things. And obviously some of them are like more sort of exposed to crypto than others are at this point in time. But certainly like the, Robinhood and Stripe and Coinbase are going to come and, take all the open source tech and like deploy it and distribute it to their customers is a very credible threat to, DeFi Maxi 101 that wants to democratize it all or something along those lines. I'm not sure. I don't have a strong point here other than that I just expect the competition to increase and become more apparent over time, actually.
Yeah. The issue is that you can't let like the Microsofts win. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how else to put it. Like Linux is great and it's free, but people don't want to use it because it's difficult to use. But then Microsoft comes into stage, does really well. Have you used Windows 11? It's horrible.
Yeah, I hate it.
Eventually, it turns into that. So you want to be a little bit careful. It's me broadly saying like DeFi 1.0 is like the democratizing people are Linux, and then just don't want another Windows 11 ever, especially with finance. That would be horrible.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just like a bad example because
It is.
people just hate Windows. Because I feel like you could say, oh, you don't want Apple to win, but people love their iPhones. So it's like a bit of a different, there's plenty of companies that are just like
I
massively
would,
compounding at the top and have great products that people love.
yeah, I would love for Apple to win though. I just don't want I just don't want
He doesn't want Microsoft to win.
I just don't want to dude. Windows 11 just looks horrible, and also I don't have any like Windows stuff in my house. My brother has, because he plays video games. He has a Windows desktop, and I looked at it, and it has like ads in the start menu, which is ridiculous and stuff. This is like completely devolving the conversation, but you get the general gist. Like, I just don't want it to get to that point. We should keep a bit of the DeFi 1.0 spirit alive. Unfortunately, probably not possible.
I don't know if this is a doomer take, but I think part of it is like somewhat inevitable in the sense that like you kind of get this explosion of like apps that give away free money during the like, heavy funding phase. And then like, but then at some point, eventually, inevitably, the businesses have to make money. And so then you end up with ads and subscription costs and like, cost per token if it's AI or whatever. So I think there's always kind of like, there's that classic, I don't know what they call that chart, but like the, overinflated expectations, trough of disillusionment, and then like the, real path after that. And I think these trends kind of follow that pretty consistently.
The thing is, in crypto, every cycle bottom, people say we're in the trough of disillusionment. Like every single thing. I swear, 2022, we had the same exact thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. There is something like Stockholm syndrome about folks here of like just consistently believing that like, okay, no, but for real, like this time we're gonna 100x and like we won't go back down after.
This time we're gonna change the world. I can't believe the 4-year cycle maxis were right.
They were right all along, unless
super cycle. The thing is that if it is a super cycle, you want to be long. If you're not long, you're not gonna make it. So
true.
Okay, my producer's gonna be upset with me because I didn't put the closing thing as we were closing. But some closing thoughts from my end is that, Danny, I appreciate you for coming on today's episode. And if you're a listener, come to the Digital Asset Summit in New York, March 24th to 26th, 0x200 to get $200 off. We are going to have a lot of big names from the SEC, CFTC, BlackRock, Coinbase, Solana, Ethereum Foundation. I'm sure there's a million other people that are coming, and none of them matter except for you, the listener. You need to come. You need to be there. But yeah, Danny, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I do think Das is going to be sick. I think we're going to be there. All of the other podcast gentlemen will be there. Mark Arjun will be there with some exciting things that I don't think I can share. So definitely come out to Das. Catch us there. What do I need to wear a tie for Das? What did you wear to that Das last time?
I always do a shirt, like a proper shirt, not like do you know what, like a proper shirt?
Yeah, dress shirt. Yeah,
dress shirt.
Proper shirt.
Like decent pants and laced proper shoes. I don't know how else to describe them.
Is that what most everyone wore? It's everyone in dress shirts and dress pants?
Yes, dress shirts, dress pants. I think you can wear a suit top, but to be honest with you, I don't think you have to. I think like I had a vest.
Vest is classy.
Not like a Birmingham in the 30s vest. more like a finance bro vest.
Okay, and like a monocle and a pipe and
monocle and pipe, top hat, pork pie hat.
A walking cane. Yeah,
a walking cane. Yeah, no, I think you don't have to wear a tie. I don't know.
All right.
Dude, Jakob Sean messaged me in a panic last week. I was like, dude, I don't know what I'm gonna wear to Das. I sent him a list. I'll tell him to send you the list. I told him where to buy stuff as well.
Yeah, I might need to buy I probably need to do some shopping. It's I'm not a frequent wearer of that's like somebody has a wedding, let's get out the suit from the closet type of thing.
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
may need to hit the store, but and maybe for those of you out there, if you're coming to DAS, maybe also get yourself a nice shirt if you don't have one.
Yeah,
or don't.
I will
Probably do,
give.
though.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I will say it's better to buy them now than later. Because with that's coming up, everybody's gonna be going in to buy shirts and stuff. Pillows. Okay.
Well, there'll be more DASs coming as well, so it'll be a good investment if you show up to multiple of them. And I believe we'll be at all of them, so certainly come out and see us there.
Yeah, certainly come out. And I don't know if we're gonna do an event for 0x, but if enough people are showing up and they ping us in the chat and saying, "Hey, man, I'm showing up. Are we doing an event?" Then we will. Then I have like leverage to pull to say, "Let's do an event."
Yeah, I don't think we'll be doing an official event, but we could certainly do something unofficial.
Yeah.
But also certainly, if you're going to be there, feel free to ping in the chat. Come chat live in person. Happy to chat.
Yeah, I am super weird in person. Though, just if I show up, don't be like, "What's that dude's problem?"
But I think they're expecting that after seeing you on the show. Like, is that a surprise or?
Yeah. No, I'm sure people expect me to be very, very good. Okay, it's shit on Boccaccio Day, but
No, I'm just kidding. He's a great guy.
Okay, peace.
All right, chat. See you guys.